Hello, and welcome to Thoughts on the Way Home, where I will be giving my thoughts on the way home from Hardcore Henry. Now, Hardcore Henry is the first-person action movie in the view of our protagonist, Henry. Overall, it was an enjoyable movie. Definitely something of an experience. Very interesting experiment in filmmaking. But at the same time, as an action film, pacing is kind of important, and when some movies claim to be non-stop action, there's pacing and there's moments where you can breathe before the action starts again, and those make those more intense. Hardcore Henry, unfortunately, does not know that lesson. There's maybe 2 scenes where you get a moment to recuperate before gunfire and chase scenes and everything are going on again. As for the story, it's pretty simple, cut and dry. Henry wakes up, has no memory of who he is, has to figure that out. That's not really important, honestly. And his wife gets kidnapped by the bad guy, and he has to go rescue his wife. That's the entire story of Hardcore Henry. The villain is cartoonishly evil with world domination plans, with evil cyborg robot things. Henry literally does not say a single word in the entire movie. It's very much a first-person shooter video game made into a movie, where the protagonist is just silent the whole time. The only really interesting character is Jimmy, played by Sharlto Copley. He keeps getting killed and he keeps coming back. That's not really a spoiler because it happens within like the first 5 minutes of the movie, the first time. And he just keeps coming back, but he's a little bit different every time, and it's really an interesting character. There's a lot in this movie that it's just, you suspend your disbelief for pretty much all of it, with that character, with the villain's psychic abilities that are never explained. But what the movie lacks in plot, it definitely makes up for in a very interesting concept and a very well executed concept. The first person is it's really awesome to watch. The whole all the fight scenes take that in place, and the action and everything. But at the same time, it does also have the Jason Bourne shaky cam issue, where it's in first person of somebody running, and there's the movement of their body as they are running and jumping over things, and they're looking down and looking up and looking around real quick, and as they're parkouring their way through everything. So it can be kind of disorienting, and definitely if motion sickness is something that is an issue for you, might be one to avoid, at least on the big screen. Back to my point at the top, the action at the beginning is definitely very exciting. Definitely, it's intense. It's brutal throughout the whole thing. There's a scene where he slams a guy's head into a wall and just drags it down, and they leave a streak of blood going up the wall. That was pretty gruesome. But when it's literally all that's going on, that can it gets boring after a while. Honestly, it's still a fun movie, and the action itself was well paced, but there wasn't enough beats between the action to say, okay, here's what's normal, and then the action kicks in again. No, usually it's a moment with Jimmy where he's just like, he talks for a moment or two, and then all of a sudden there's a ton of guys, and Henry's got to shoot up the place again, and escape, and then drive a car into other cars, and there's no moment of relaxation really in the movie. This movie reminded me a lot of the film Crank, and Crank, despite being an insanely violent, hard R action film, is paced too. There are moments in there where Jason Statham's character takes a breather, is trying to figure out how to not have the thing that's killing him kill him for a moment before he goes back and beats the shit out of a bunch of people. Whereas Hardcore Henry, it's just beats the shit out of a bunch of people, takes 2 steps, repeat. But overall, despite that particular criticism, I still had fun with the movie. I did enjoy it. Not necessarily one that you need to see on the big screen. I think it might help, but this one, I could definitely see waiting for a rental. It's definitely, every now and again there are those that are just turn your mind off and just, watch explosions happen on screen. Hardcore Henry is definitely that kind of a movie. Maybe see it in theaters, but I do definitely think it's at least worth a rent. And those have been my thoughts on the way home from Hardcore Henry.